Master, good morning. We have few members on the panel.
Okay.
We have Vishwanath Kattagaru.
Okay.
Vishwanath Kattagaru we have just met. And we also have Dr. Ratnakumar Palakodeti on the panel.
Okay.
And we will also have Dr. Satish Kattula. We are trying to move him to the panel. Dr. Ratnakumar Garu is a family practice physician, and he was the former president of the Ohio Academy of Family Physicians and board of trustees of the Dayton Foundation, which is a non-profit organization. And Vishwanath Garu is a silent member in our community and serves quietly. And Dr. Satish Kattula Garu is the secretary of API, and he's an oncologist, associate professor of medicine at Wright State University. And we have Sunny Garu from our ATA board, our president Bhuvanesh Bojala Garu and elected president Madhu Garu are traveling to India. So they're hoping to meet you there in person.
It'll be nice.
So Hari Garu is also traveling. And we will begin with Sunny Garu to invite you now.
Namaste, Daaji.
Namaste, Sunny. Namaste.
First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for helping us for the last couple of weeks. So we are happy to have a clear understanding of the importance of the moment of conception and how the attitude and the state of being parents' consciousness at the time matters. Now we are wondering what is consciousness and how does meditation help the expansion of consciousness? What do we practice and what is the role of the guru in this aspect? Please enlighten us, Raj.
Sunny, it's a very difficult one you have. It's because the question you have posed, it's an enormous question. You see, there was a time, last time we were discussing this, especially with Saraswati, daughter of Narasimha Raoji, on this aspect of consciousness, that how our people, Lord Rama, that epoch, his Guruji, sage Vasishtha, then parallelly Sita's father, Raja Janaka, and his dialogue with Astavakra, and how Lakshman Gita, which came out as a result of discussion between Lord Rama, Lakshman and Sita during their Vanavasa period. So you can see some, when you read books and when you say, oh, I read the book of 18th century, and somebody says, oh, I also read the book of 18th century, and somebody else also says, I read the book of 18th century. It will have a common theme. It will have some essence belonging to that particular epoch. And we can conclude, I think, quite safely that those days, the main topic of discussion was consciousness. There is a whole Vasishtha Sanhita on consciousness. Lakshman Gita discussion with Rama and Mother Sita is also on consciousness. When you read Astavakra Gita, it's all about, the dialogue between Raja Janaka and Astavakra. It's all consciousness again. Today, scientists are busy exploring what this consciousness is, and there is no really one way of defining consciousness. It's a very touchy subject also. To understand consciousness, we have to use consciousness. Those days, all these super minds of that era discussed all those topics that somehow matters to human life. Because fundamentally, when we talk of evolution, body, as we discussed last time, physical body cannot evolve. My body is only going to age. That's the outermost part of my existence. Innermost part of my existence that supports my life is my soul, my jivan, my atman. And Shastras say that it is immutable, it cannot change. Why cannot it change? Because it is purest, it is immutable. What can you add to the ultimate purity? It sounds quite absurd. Then what are we trying to evolve? It is consciousness. Now, in order to understand evolution of consciousness, we have to understand what is present level of consciousness and what is the trajectory of my consciousness I am planning to arrive at, and what makes this consciousness. Is it just one single thing, or is it multiple things in one go, or all these things they combine and say, okay, this is consciousness? So we have to first define what is consciousness so that we can further our discussion. These days only scientists seems to be talking, or the brains. The lay person don't seem to bother. Even the devotees of gods, they don't care about what consciousness is and why should it matter to us. Is it really that important? Ritualistically, we do worship in the temple and blah, 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 all those kinds of things. But all these worships, do they really change my consciousness? So if temple worship or the things that I am doing is not going to change my consciousness, if day-to-day living that I am undergoing, it's not going to change my consciousness, then what is it that is going to change my consciousness? So we have to explore all this in details. See? So Sunny, your answer will be, I think it will last so many Sundays actually. So let's begin with one definition. To my understanding, consciousness is all about degree of awareness, simply put. By that, it also means degree of unawareness. To what extent I remain unaware? To what extent I remain aware? That's all about consciousness. Awareness or the consciousness of a stone versus consciousness of a grass or a small plant, things like touch me not plant. The moment you touch, the leaves wrinkle up. How does this sunflower understand this, that sunlight is moving and I should also turn around for maximum solar light reception? The flower also turns as the sun moves. That is also a kind of consciousness. When you plant lauki or ridge gourd or what you call bottle gourd, and they have tendrils at the end of their, and they're like hooks. And as soon as in its vicinity it finds some support, just hangs on to it and locks itself with it. That is also a kind of awareness. When you try to cut a tree with an axe, you can see how violently the tree moves. Versus even when the wind is blowing at 60 miles, 80 miles an hour, it doesn't feel as violent as somebody is trying to cut it through an axe. So they have some level of consciousness. Once I was in Austria, in one of the hotels, and I couldn't sleep in the hotel, see. So almost all night I kept on witnessing the snowfall. It was snowing then, see. And I saw the trees And you keep wondering, I'm inside the room and the trees are outside. They don't have leaves, nothing is left on them. How they must be feeling at this moment, their consciousness. And how all of a sudden, when the winter is over, they get into some sort of a life and the green again covers it up. That is also a kind of consciousness to me. Human beings, when you talk of animals like dogs, consciousness of a dog differs from a consciousness of a donkey. And that's why we call some people, "Chla donkey aadmi hai." Because it doesn't understand and doesn't move. Even when you're driving and there is all of a sudden donkey just standing there and you keep on honking. Donkey doesn't want to move from the road, doesn't want to listen. That's why we end up calling some people, "वो तो donkey आदमी है, सुनता ही नहीं है किसी की." So that also reflects some level of consciousness. In our human interactions, as I was mentioning, donkey-like people, they have different level of consciousness. It's like, your child is sleeping and you try to wake him up. There are multiple scenarios where some children, as soon as you're walking just outside and you're just about to reach the room and try to open the door, even just before you open the door, they're already up. Papa is coming or mommy is coming, and they just suddenly get up and say, "Good morning, Papa, good morning, mommy," and they wake up with a smile and hug you. There are other sorts of children also who knows Papa has entered the room. He understands very well, Papa is in the room. You try to tap him. By wood, please get up. It's morning, it's time to go to school. You'll be late otherwise. He hears all these things, but ignores it perfectly well. See. He is determined, I will not get up. Unless, of course, you adopt some other means. Throw some water on his head and then he'll jump and say, "Dad, what the hell are you doing? What do you think?" But then you ask, "What the hell are you doing? I've been tapping you for a long time." And so they pretend. And those who pretend, they cannot be helped at all. See. If you are sleeping, I can wake you up. But if you are pretending that you are sleeping, no one can wake them up. See. Similarly, consciousness, imagine a consciousness of a couple. They are fighting like hell in the bedroom. And suddenly their 4-year-old enters the room. What can happen at that time? What will happen to the consciousness or the reaction of the couple? Either they stop fighting and enter the silent zone, or keep smiling artificially, "Oh, my baby is inside," and you'll hug. Or would you continue shouting at each other? If you continue shouting at each other, despite your loved one, the little fellow has entered the room, your adamancy of going on fighting also reflects a level of consciousness. So we are trying to somehow understand rigid consciousness and flexible consciousness. This still doesn't explain to us what is it made up of. See? But this extent to which my consciousness can become flexible and extent to which my consciousness can remain rigid defines me, defines myself as a human being. See? Flexible people are more accommodative, rigid people, nobody likes to interact with. They like to stay away from such people. You may have married a wonderful person, but association of being married to a rigid versus flexible determines the happiness and harmony of a family. So consciousness, I think, plays a very, very important role in everyday life. Can it be trained? Can we improve it? So we have to understand certain attitudes at ego level, intellect level, and at mind level. Our shastras, they say, chit, meaning consciousness, has three major components. Besides, there can be so many variations or subparts, but three are fundamental. Number one is manas, meaning the mind. Number two is buddhi, intellect. And third component of chit, or the third component of consciousness, is ahankar or ego. Okay. Now, when my consciousness changes, because these three things are also changing. When my mind changes, when my mind evolves, transforms, when my intellect transforms, and when my ego gets transformed, what does it become as it continues to get transformed? So let's understand what becomes of the mind, or what becomes of the function of the mind as a result of evolution. I'll give you a small example. When we meditate, we begin with a thought, which is a function of the mind. I think on the presence of the divinity within my heart. So it's just a thought. But as I begin to feel the divinity in my heart, can you say that function of my mind is no longer thinking, but now I'm able to feel? So as an evolution of thinking process, it has now entered into a state of feeling or experience. Let me give you a nice example, which we all go through actually as man. Often we have problems in day-to-day life, especially in the office or in the business world. And we carry this problem day after day, day after day, day after day. Your mother would ask, what is wrong with you? Or your wife may ask, or your sister may ask, you don't look the same. Something is troubling you. Okay. After 2-3 months of rigmarole, as they say, then you open up and say, oh, honey, or my dear mother, I'm going through these problems. I have this major crisis. 9 out of 10 times of such problems, even before you finish describing your problems, your mother or your wife would come up with a solution. How do they do that? For which you had been breaking your head, thinking. So now, but your mother or your wife instantly comes up with a solution before you even finish your problems. So what sense, what level of consciousness are they using? What are they feeling? Are they bypassing thinking apparatus and jumping straight to the heart, to Hridayam, and say, okay, I feel this, and this is a probable solution. They have a lot of ideas, a lot of intuition is there, which is heart-based, but confidence is lacking in sisters or wives or mothers. They give you most appropriate solutions. What they lack is confidence. But whether they lack it or not, when we hear their side of the version, and you say, wow, how come I didn't think like this? You can't think, you can only feel it. So what it means that manas, as it evolves, the function of the manas, which is thinking, changes into a function of the heart, which is to feel, to intuit, which to some extent is also mixed up with buddhi or intellect. When we think of buddhi, now what becomes of buddhi as we evolve? Going back to the first aspect of thinking, to feeling. So this is one way of helping our mind evolve, meaning manas evolve, so that my consciousness can also evolve. So meditation is one of the means through which mind can evolve. Okay. Buddhi, intellect. What becomes of intellect as it evolves? What is the difference between intellect and intelligence? And what becomes of intelligence later? Intellect is individual. Intelligence is universal, existential. When I was giving you the example of Loki or the ridge gourd or Karela or bitter gourd, and they have those tendrils, as soon as something that can support it comes in their way, it feels it and just hooks on that. That is intelligence, existential, universal. When we meditate, somehow we are able to contemplate in many different directions, and you are able to see various possibilities. Just as this tendril is going around, you should watch slow speed movies on how Loki or Karela or Kumbar, their tendrils hooks on. They go around, you see. And then once they find something, it just, with the wind, it just hooks onto it. Our mind also, it scans. This scanning activity is intellectual activity. See, you are scanning everything. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are scanning things. And as our intelligence merges with the intelligence which is universal, through meditation, we are able to intuitively perceive things. Our experiences also, they become very handy. As we age, our intellect, intelligence, intuition also skyrockets. As a result, we become wiser. So that's why the difference between an experienced and unexperienced person, where consciousness expansion as a result of improved intelligence or improved wisdom come to play. So here again, scanning the mind, scanning various possibilities, various scenarios when you're meditating. For example, when I had to open a drugstore in pharmacy in New York City. Okay, you have scanned the location. This is between Broadway and Flushing. Good. It's a great location, nice highways, a lot of pedestrians, but there's another smaller location in front of a hospital. What would you choose? It's very simple. Choose something which is in front of a hospital. Sometimes you meditate Often you don't even need to meditate, just straight away come to a conclusion. This is it. But then you'll have more prescription business there and less cash business there. So you have to weigh out so many other things. What are you interested in? See? When you meditate on a project, your mind scans, your intelligence gets awakened and say, okay, I'm seeing various possibilities. So meditation is not only for God realization, it's also there to make our life richer, more informative, more enriched in understanding so many possibilities to just one thing. Third is ego. What becomes of ego as it evolves? What is the doctor's name?
Satish.
Okay. Hello, Satish. I'm going to use your name for a moment.
Please feel free. Thank you.
Thank you. Which place are you in?
I'm in Dayton, Ohio, Daaji.
Dayton, Ohio. Lovely. See, we're going to talk about ego. See? My Guruji, he used to say that if you're a doctor and say, I'm a doctor, there is no ego in it. See? But person like Uma, who is not a doctor, and so, oh, I'm Dr. Uma Mullapudi and all that, see, that is quite egoistic thing, representing what you are not, falsity. And falsity comes into play because you feel somewhere, I'm not so good. So you try to make it up by boosting your ego and by lying all about it, see. So when you mention that, oh, I am so and so, there is no ego, and it's a matter of fact as it is. When you are performing your duty as a doctor and say, oh, I have done this operation, I have saved so many patients, I have cured so many patients, which is also a fact. But I am the best. There is no one better than me in entire Dayton. Then you're blowing your own trumpets, isn't it? And that's what we call arrogance. Arrogance is also another phase of ego. So one is where you represent, oh, I am so and so. There is nothing wrong with it. Another is you are not that and you represent that I am so and so. That's a problem. Third scenario is, oh, I am the best. There is nobody better than me. That is blatant ego, arrogance. But there is another phase to it that, of course, I did so many surgeries, I did save so many people, I cured so many people from their agonies and pain. But I can do still a lot better. I would like to improve upon myself and excel in my profession. That shows humility, that I can become better. Humility is also another side phase of ego. And this sort of ego helps us evolve better versus a person who makes up his mind and there is nothing, no one is better than me. Then you're not going to change, you're not going to improve. So our consciousness also plays a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful role. It gets affected. Once I become very egoistic, meaning very arrogant, my consciousness also becomes like a narrow band. And as my generosity in accommodating more people also kicks in, and I accommodate more and more people in my equations, and try to become better and better human being, then too my consciousness will adopt a broader, or what we might like to call it as a broadband consciousness. And today we are understanding so well that what is difference between 5G and 1G. 5G is a broader level of consciousness versus 1G. And all these things, are possible because of meditation. In meditation, we are putting God before us. Before us, not in the physical form, but always in our consciousness, we give God the first priority. That means you are taking a back seat. It's a kind of surrender or kind of acceptance. And when we somehow take a back seat and allow the Lord to perform things through us, there is a higher level of osmosis between our limited consciousness and the cosmic consciousness. That happens only during meditation, because meditation experiences shows that whenever I am hankering after my experience, it happens to all of us. Whenever we meditate, in the beginning, we say, oh, I like to have a good experience. I like to have samadhi. I like to enjoy all kinds of samadhi, which are infinite in scope. But as we practice meditation more and more, and as we see or witness this I-ness or my-ness disappearing or slowing down, then my experiences become better and better. As I reduce my ego in this equation, my experiences somehow skyrocket. And the day when I don't exist at all in consciousness, or with a demand that I have to experience this and this and this, when I'm totally absent, in the sense I allow through my consciousness and through my acceptance and through saranagati, as they say in bhakti literature, only the Lord will take over. God will take over our consciousness. He manages better than us. Then you will see the most blissful experiences in meditation, where you are replacing your consciousness or your ego with godly consciousness. And when this too happens, the extreme bliss that takes over in your heart, that also becomes a kind of a burden to my experience. And you say, okay, to say goodbye to this final gift also. Many people go crazy for Sat Chit Anand. They think it is the ultimate thing. And they remain busy with Anandam and Anandam. And how much Anandam you want in your life? What happens to a honeybee who is totally soaked in honey? It will die. See? Same thing happens to us. You're too busy with this Sat Chit Anand. I mean, it's a beautiful word. It is like what we call sacred or secret formula passed on through our sastras. It's an indicator, it's a formula that Anandam can come when your chit achieves or realizes the truth. Sat is realized by the chit, and as a result you enjoy is Anandam, Sat Chit Anand. It's a sacred or secret message passed on. So the main key thing is this chitta, and how we enjoy this as a result, and how this bliss also can torment you at some point. And when you renunciate even this bliss, which is spiritual in nature, then another level of consciousness that we enjoy. I shouldn't use the word enjoy, but somehow it enters in our being, and it is very pure in nature. There is no excitement in it. There is no bubbling joy in it, because all those bubbling joys and bliss and excitements, they simply disappears when we have renounced it altogether. And this renouncing or renunciating Satchit Anand state is not a conscious thing or a deliberate thing. It happens as we practice meditation more and more. So, Sunny, and your question, what is consciousness? So I try to explain in brief what it is and its components and what becomes of all these individual components as a result, and what becomes of finally this consciousness, which I already touched upon in a brief with a brief note that there's a difference in consciousness when you have flexible consciousness versus rigid consciousness. We become more flexible, almost like gods, godly consciousness. See, God, even though someone is trying to cut the tree, for example, or someone is trying to rape someone, or someone is trying to kill someone, does God interfere? Doesn't. What is the role of God in that case? But in my day-to-day human life, when I see my dear ones being abused, would you sit silent like God? No. You'll have to take action. You're witnessing so and so is being compromised. You'll have to take action. So there too, consciousness plays a part. You cannot say I'm extremely flexible like God and I need not act now like God because now I become like God. That will be foolishness. So automatically our responses will be as needed as per the situation. Because I try to clarify this because someone had already asked this question to me, that what if you become like godly consciousness? Then you will not be able to respond properly in day-to-day world. It's a logical question, theoretical question, but in real life, it doesn't happen like that. So you become more compassionate, you become more loving, you become more accommodative, you extremely become, I would say, a flexible person. And there is so much of joy radiating from you that others will enjoy you, enjoy your company, enjoy your association. On your own, what becomes of you? You are a mere witness at that time. Enough for the day, I think. We reserve more for the later, I think. Is it okay? Because my, as they say, my battery is 20% now.
Thank you.
Yes, Daaji.
I've been whole evening, I had been busy with Chinna Ziyar Sami. He was in our ashram today. And we spent some good time here. They are having some festive atmosphere or festive activities from 2nd February onward. A lot of dignitaries are coming and some bhaktas are coming also. So we can accommodate 10, 15, 20,000 people. I said, okay, consider this place as your place and use it the way you like it. So he was happy. But anyway. So we begin meditation, or you still want to explore any question?
It's up to you, Master, but Satish Garu and Ratna Garu have They said that they have a question, but we accept whatever. If you want us to start meditation.
Let us see. Let me brood over the questions. If I can answer today, I will. Otherwise, next Sunday. It should not be long like Sunny's. Sunny's. You. And when you explore such answers, you don't feel like leaving it halfway. Otherwise, I could have said consciousness is awareness. What's your next question? Then.
Satish Garu, if you want to, or Ratna Garu, if you want to unmute, one of you can.
Daaji. I've been treating cancer patients for almost 2 decades, Daaji, and I've been part of a lot of cancer journeys. And as you know, these patients go through a lot, from the diagnosis to the treatment to the survivorship. And they actually live in fear of cancer even if they're cured. The good thing is a lot of people are being cured with the newer treatments, but even if they survive, they do live in fear, most of them. And what is your advice to them, and how heartfulness meditation can help them? Thank you.
We have multiple programs tailor-made for each patient. I mean, our trainers would interact with them and study each individual's concern. Okay. In yoga sastras, whenever a person is under fear, there are 2 chakras, yogic chakras, get affected badly. And which you can feel also when you close your eyes. These 2 chakras become so dark and so compressed that when you transmit to them, it just doesn't penetrate at all. In extreme situation where there's so much of fear. And these 2 chakras are from the 2 basic elements out of 5 Panchabhutas. One is earth, Bhumi, Prithvi. And second is Jal, water. Number 1 chakra that really badly get affected is Jal, 4th chakra here. It is here. And when this chakra is cleaned up with this pranahuti through our meditation, you find a lot of relief. And similarly, the heart chakra, which is continuously goes on accumulating fearful thoughts. So it needs continuous cleaning also. Weekly 2-3 times sessions are given. That's one protocol. Second spiritual protocol would be polarity treatment, where there is energy balance applied to it. You are a physician and you will be able to appreciate the sudden change in patient's attitude moment these 2 things are done. Third is how lovingly we treat this patient and give them hope. So cancer patients, they thrive and find joy or lack of it. It all depends on how well we give them hope. So a caring physician with this attitude of, even till the last minute, don't lose the hope. And fourthly, for spiritual individuals, they do understand this is a passing phase. This is not the end of the world. I have next life to aspire for, maybe better than this. That's how our spiritual people thrive, actually, and which may not be as applicable and as soothing in the Western audience. But these first 3 things which I have shared with you will definitely help. You can try this. Try give 5 patients to Uma and see how quality of their life changes.
That's a great idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste, Ji. This is Ratna Kumar. And you, first of all, thank you very much for sharing your great wisdom with all of us. And you really gave wonderful explanation about consciousness and spirituality. And as a physician, I'm going to take it to a different side that is more of disease-oriented benefits people will get with meditation. It was, the research, as you know better than us, has shown its effect on the amygdala in the brain, which controls the anxiety, stress, which are all controlled so well with meditation. And also its effect on various chakras. How can we make use of meditation for controlling certain diseases, more like diabetes and Alzheimer's disease? Again, I think Harvard study has shown that it increased the gray matter in certain areas of the brain. How can we practice that one in population to actually make them aware of that and actually cure the diseases without medicines, but with meditation? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I believe one fundamental thing, that prevention is better than cure. When we analyze the overall health of a person who meditates versus people who do not meditate, and not meditation to me as a wider definition, because some people, they say, oh, I've been doing meditation, and when you ask them, what are you doing in meditation, they say, we chant. So it is chanting, it's not meditation. Chanting means you are busy with particular words. I'm not against chanting. Children can chant. Would I recommend chanting to adults? That you have to answer that question. Whenever an individual is busy chanting, it's like, what is this Dr. Ravi Mullapudi? He calls from hospital to his wife, Uma Mullapudi. And Uma goes on talking, and poor Ravi has to hang up the phone. So he is not listening. One-way conversation. Chanting is one-way conversation. Through chanting, you are trying to convey to the cosmic consciousness, or to God. And having conveyed it, now you wait for the answer. Need to pause with a poise and receive those messages, if at all, in your heart. But unfortunately, you're too busy trying to score your 1,000 mantra recitations. Of course, it will give you a lot of contentment and satisfaction of having done something, and you think you have fulfilled your duty. But you kept on sending the message and refuse to receive any message. Where will it take you? So, right type of meditation, correctly guided by a right guru. See? Not all kinds of gurus can guide. They are too busy making money. Yogis have become udyogis. You know, udyogi means trying to make mullahs, money. And a lot of gurus, they visit US, you know why? You guys are to be blamed. $1,000 here, $10,000 there, $1 million there, and here, a good life. Why would a sannyasi need so much money? You advise people to renunciate life, and you are too busy collecting? And whom to blame? These Gujaratis and Telugus, they are famous for donating, And more you give, you think they will reserve the seat for you in heaven. There is one guru and he has collected 12,000 crores rupees. And he promises you, that if you give me 10 crores, I will find your soul in the next birth and transfer that 10 crores with interest. And there are enough fools to give him that kind of money also. And they give you also mantras to remain in connection with him. And these mantras will also be there reminding you in case you have forgotten that you gave 10 crores. There are enough fools amongst us who, in the name of God, should we blame such yogis who has turned into yogis? No. It is our individual greed, actually, that makes you donate like that. But if you just adopt 2-3 villages and try to uplift their lifestyle, do some water, purification plant or sewer plant, so build some decent houses or look after some cows or stray dogs. There are many ways of serving godly creation, see. Such things can help you achieve some level of self-respect for yourself. Guy who has given $1 million, do you think he'll have self-respect? Think over it. He'll be blubbed, what they say in English? He would be blowing his own trumpets and loses self-respect. I did so much and I did so much. And he's too busy talking about it. Rightful meditation prepares us in many ways. First and foremost, fundamental thing, any good meditation practice helps us achieve is to sensitize my heart with viveka, viveka buddhi. First step, discrimination. My mind, my heart becomes so sensitive as a result of meditation that I am able to differentiate between right and wrong, profitable versus not so profitable. And most importantly, you are able to realize the difference between cause and effect. The whole science of medicine is flourishing by understanding this cause-effect relationship. So in my mind, when I see if I eat this particular food in winter, what will be the consequences? You go through it once, twice, or follow your mother's advice or grandmother's advice. So meditation can help us understand situations a lot better, actually. It helps you remember also many things, what to eat, what not to eat, what to eat when not to eat when, exercise. Should I do asana? Or should I do pranayama? Or should I just jog and things of that nature? Small things like that that helps us make day-to-day, moment-to-moment decisions. Small decisions, that's what makes our life. So meditational practices helps a lot. Now, as far as these Panchabhutas are concerned and how they play out, I think, Dr. Ratna, we reserve this for the next sessions, where these Panchabhutas or the 5 chakras are related to PQRST in our EKG, and how harmonizing Panchabhutas can harmonize this PQRST, and how each, let us say, compromising any of these Panchabhutas, how it can change the course of PQRST, and how we can clean this PQRST in a yogic way. And this has been a matter of, tremendous interest in my heart, but I have not found enough patients and enough doctors to study this. But we can begin it somewhere, and I'm glad we can partner on this and come up with some solid research work on this matter. So as usual, we'll begin this meditation. And yes, Dr. Ratna, you were trying to say something.
Just saying, thank you, Ji, for all your wisdom. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So as usual, we'll meditate on the presence of divine light in our heart. And Sister Magaru will conclude the meditation session. Please start meditation.
That's all. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all the panel members for honoring our request and joining us today. We're very grateful. It was an enlightening session with Revered Daaji. And we will see you all next week. Fortunately, he's agreed to come for a few more weeks. And all the panel members, if you are free, we request you to join us again and ask. Your questions were very valid and profound. That brought enlightened most of us with so many answers. So grateful to all of you. We'll see you all later. Thank you.